Hello everyone, hoi hoi. This is Live Gene speaking again for the third time. Hope this recording is done well, because having some trouble. Hope you're having a good day or night or evening. And today's recording or episode will deal with other things, not so practical and not so much information. And it will be, I mean, it deals with a lot of everything, but mostly this is more kind of a personal view. I mean, personal not by my view, but of personal aspects of human beings, and more spiritual or psychological, or however you can put it, to explore a little bit more on the human itself, and not so much other things outside of it, or him or her. So it's gonna deal, with spirituality and what is it, and what does it really mean, other than understanding that it's something other than being scientific, because it might not be that different, but yes. So deals with first of all trying to understand what spirituality means to most people in Western culture, because we have a certain way of thinking in the West, and we know it's certainly not too spiritual, but we first have to understand what spirituality is, because it might not turn out to be what so many people think of it being, of being some kind of religious concept, or just being weird, or being not being part of the world and all that. Well, it's not that they're completely wrong, those conceptions, but in a way they're really not what spirituality is about. So what happens here in the West? Well, I wanted to talk about this because it's somewhat a weird it's a weird thing to talk about, because you never know exactly how to explain it. And that's exactly what I mean by people don't understand it in the West, because it can't be explained that easily. We usually like having things explained to us in a way that we can measure them, that we can put limits to them, and we can control them in a certain way, because that's how we've been brought up, at least many people in Western culture, contemporary culture at least. And it deals with just looking at life in a three-dimensional way, and controlling it in a way, because you can limit it, you can understand its elements that compose it, you can really give form and shape to it, and that makes us feel somewhat, it makes us understand life in an easier way, and gives us some tranquility, I guess. But spirituality is hard to define, because it's not that measurable, it's not that limitable, and that's why it kind of creates so much I guess, anxiety in those that try to really put it into words and put it into concepts that cannot be understood in some other way. And it's kind of hard to change this way of looking at things. Usually when you get too used to something, it's almost like an addiction. It's pretty hard to get over it and grow past it in any way you can, because there's also ways to change your way of looking at things. But spirituality doesn't deal necessarily with the practical or the objective and limitable aspect of physical existence. And I know that might sound a little bit out there sometimes, but you have to get it's about that exactly. It's out there, but it's yet in there. Meaning that the answer to spirituality won't come through measuring whatever comes through life physically. It won't be understood by understanding the different things that go into and out of your life, and the different things that we come in contact with physically. So it deals with a whole new aspect of our consciousness, of our awareness of ourselves and the world. First, start by understanding what your particular awareness or what your particular conception of the world is, and yourself. Some might see the world as a physical entity, and that's about it. Some might see it as a mixture between physical and somewhat emotions and ideas, and some might see it just like not physical at all, but an exchange of free energy and matter just going into different kind of vibrational waves and exchanging information and giving form and destroying it. And all of those things are true in the sense that they form a part of the whole. They are different lenses through which to perceive reality and interpret it. However, if we claim to be looking for the truth or seeking to understand reality as it is, then we cannot limit ourselves to just one lens. So seeing the world usually physically is pretty easy since we have 5 main senses, and those senses just allow us to give some form depending on how our brain interprets the information or the stimulation going in, and gives it back to interact with the surroundings, and that gives us pretty much an idea of what the physical identity is, of what the physical identity of other objects outside of of oneself are, and yeah, so that's one way of looking at it. However, getting married to that idea that that's all there is to life, it's just a random biological or physical exchange of energy, without seeking to unveil the other aspects of life. It's just like, getting married to a certain doctrine or philosophy and just not being open-minded to new discoveries. Why has this happened? Well, it has happened because religion in the past has really kind of caused a bit of trouble, let's say, confrontations, disagreements, even wars, and terrible things. It also has given beautiful things to humanity, such as, hope and just wanting to help others and wanting to be understood, and there's both sides to the coin. However, in today's world, Western world anyway, we usually look at spirituality with a kind of a judgment that makes it unvaluable and kind of retrograde, in the sense that it's a thing of the past. Now we have science, now we have understanding of how the physical world works, and even though we don't even know, just a single bit of how it works, compared to what we might know in a few centuries from now, or somewhat like that. But anyways, we do understand more than probably a few centuries back. But that's not it. That's not the only thing, and we have just learned how to expel everything else, every other theories, every other beliefs, just because they cannot be calculated, just because they cannot be controlled and variabilized and put into a laboratory or a measurable ruler, may that be one a physical one or a conceptual one, from which we can understand and control our lives and feel somewhat in control. So that has created over the years unconscious, most of all it is unconscious. We're not even aware, most people, that we do this, but we do kind of give this form and construct this paradigm in reality that is easy to manipulate and easy to control, to just to feel secure. And because religion and the abstract has caused so much confusion in the past, that we're just kind of not wanting to go there anymore. We're just getting married to the idea that the world is just physical. But doing so will just, whether it is now in a few years or in a few decades or centuries, it will eventually lead to the opposite side, which is over-practicalization, over-objectivizing things. And that's what's happening today. We're actually so physical that we are consuming the physical world or natural resources because we only concentrate on the physical. So we need more physical to feel secure, to feel happy, and we need to consume more physical, and that's not the way it works either. And we're just seeing that we're running out of resources, and until the point, if we don't do anything about it and throw the pendulum the other direction again, as it naturally has to go, then we will eventually go the same way that over-religioning things did, which was wars and just being closed-minded about who is the true God and what is the true truth. Yeah, at least that makes some kind of sense. So we have to start exploring, not necessarily blindly exploring. I mean, we have objectiveness. We have a part of the brain that is used especially for calculating and planning and measuring, controlling, and discerning information, and it's not there for no reason at all. But we have another part of the brain, which is the intuitive part. It is a part that is more global. It doesn't make a measured sense of things. It just kind of perceives things in a global and sensible way. And we have both for a reason, and that's what I mean. Don't go to any extremes. But right now, humanity is kind of forgetting its its intuitive side, its spiritual side. That's what spirituality is about. It's not about a religion. It's not about following some doctrine. That's just the sickness that came after spirituality was gradually misinterpreted or misguided. Spirituality is personal and it's collective, but it's an exploring path, just like science is. There is bad science and there is good science. There is bad spirituality and there is good ones. And you can explore it. That is what it's all about. It's about learning and exploring, just with a different lens. Science is one lens and spirituality is a different one. And one might give you the possibility of reading the lines. The other one might give you the possibility of reading in between, so you understand the whole thing. We are beings physically, yes. We do have basic needs, and we live in a certain three-dimensional world, limited by our senses and bodies, yes. Understanding it is important, yes. However, we also have other aspects to our own existence. You can call them, emotional, ideas, intellectual, even spiritual, which is kind of something in between and something over it all, or whatever. It's not really about defining. I'm not really going to talk about defining things, because we can do that over so many hours, but it's about opening our minds to new concepts and to new ways of experimenting reality. So instead of just being conditioned, for good, badly, unconsciously, or unconsciously conditioned to perceive the world in a three-dimensional way and don't go beyond that. As far as one stimulation goes, you go and seek the next, and you go and seek the next, and then you try to fool yourself and fulfill yourself through material things and being in a material situation and trying to understand things in this physical world. And no wonder we never kind of find true happiness, because we're just dealing with one aspect, base aspect actually, of nature, of our nature. And people kind of grow, anxious of the world being just all physical, and we try to. That's why we seek love, and that's why we seek happiness. But we're still seeking it and going back to the physical parts of it. Even if someone seeks love, in a friend. I mean, eventually, it's all about what they do physically together, and what by physically I mean might be doing an activity or whatever. If it's someone else, it might be a woman for a man, or a man for a woman, and getting to satisfy their needs and whatever. But the point is, there's always that aspect that we seek, which is understanding, which is empathy, which is that feeling you get inside, that thing that you can't really label, because if you kind of imagine it, it has no form. And it's not square, it's not triangle. I mean, who knows what it is? It might have some form, but we just can't conceive it yet. And that thing is what we actually seek sometimes. When we already have the material things. I mean, you have space, you have air, you have food. Once you have all that done with, you're seeking something else, and that something else is an emotion, is something that is inside. It's formless. It's more like energy in some way.